Let's talk device financing. Providers of mobile phones and auxiliary services in Nigeria are working on allowing customers who can't afford the full price of their mobile device to pay in installments over time. Now, this service ensures that installment repayments cover the item being purchased by the customer and, beyond smartphones, also extends to laptops and other electronic devices. Joining us to discuss further, Odunayo Aisha Hussaini, who is the founder and CEO of Keza, which is a company that finances mobile phones. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So I think we'll throw up some numbers on the screen. Can you talk about the mobile phone landscape in Nigeria, or even I think Africa? Yeah, there was a decline of 18% or so. What's your take on the landscape as we speak?
Hi, Rotus. Thank you for having me today.
Great stuff.
As you said, we're a device financing company that enables people on smart work tools such as smartphones and laptops and pay in monthly installments. And as you said, the sales of smartphones in Nigeria dipped last year. So before then, we've been having about 63 million phones sold every year in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Last year, it dipped to about 18 to 19%. And the reason for this was the slow economy, the high increase in forex, and also other factors, other economical factors. All of these have led to smartphones no longer being as affordable for lots of Nigerians. This has impacted the economy in such a way that people are now looking for other methods to own a smartphone. So rather than walking into a store and paying upfront, people are asking, can I pay in monthly installments for this device? People are also looking out for pre-owned devices because these are the more affordable ranges of smartphones that they can own.
All right, so how do you guys do it? How does Kez do it?
So what we do is we have a platform where people will go to access any smartphone of their choice. We do phones as wide as Apple, Samsung, Huawei, any type of phone, transient phone, so that they can, select a device, choose how long they want to pay for. We do a maximum of 6 months, and then they can check out. So
6 months?
Yes.
It's not very long.
It's long in Nigerian context.
Right. So you see, this is why we had you. Okay, fine. What about the interest rates?
So an interest rate, so because we have a lot of lenders on our back end, we deal with various interest rates from 3% to 5%. So it depends on the lender that's financing the customer.
Okay, so you're a pipeline to the lender then?
Exactly.
Okay, so explain that again. So you're like a middle person?
Well, so we connect the vendors who own the devices. We also connect the OEMs, those are the distributors of the smartphones. Then we have the lenders in our network. And so what we do is we bring them together. So when customers want to buy a device and pay monthly, we go to the vendors, we pick up the device, and then the lenders are financing the devices for the customers.
Interesting. And this is all types, from the ultra affordable to the premium,
Yes.
most expensive?
So for the premium ranges, we have the Apple, definitely. We do the brand new Apple devices and the certified pre-owned Apple devices.
Okay.
And then we have Samsung, Google phones, Huawei phones, Infinix, Techno, yeah.
Well, what about credit worthiness? How do you know if the person is...
Good question.
Yeah.
So we have a credit team internally who is looking out for the person's credit profile, if they've taken a loan before, their loan behavior, credit score, and then we're also looking at their debt to income ratio. So how much do you earn and how much is the value of the device you want to get? So averagely we sit around 30% for the DTI.
Nigeria's debt to income, well, actually debt service to revenue, we're just talking about it, is 96% according to the World Bank. Would Nigeria qualify for a mobile phone if they came to... If Nigeria came to borrow a phone, we're just talking about that. Do we have that number? We should flash that number again. According to the World Bank, debt service to revenue, 96%. All right, banks are doing this. Banks are in this market. I know a number of banks that are offering equipment financing. So how do you compete? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so 96% of Nigeria's revenue is used to service debt. So I'm curious if Nigeria will qualify. But yeah, how do you
so with banks, being honest, we're not actually even competing with these banks. We're empowering banks to do this because we white label our technology so that banks can provide device financing to their customers. So as a customer of any bank, for instance, you can actually go to your banking app, go to loans, go to device loans, and then you're open to all the devices on our platform and you check out with your bank. So we're not actually
you're on the back end?
Exactly.
Is that
So we're white labeling device financing for banks.
Sorry, that's what white labeling means. Okay,
Exactly.
great. Okay, what happens if the borrower defaults? What happens if they don't pay? Yeah, so how do you get your phone back, or what happens?
Okay, so I mean, before default dates, we've already done our due diligence, which is to always remind you of your pending payments. And then when it's due, if you don't make your payment, typically we'll give a grace period. After that grace period, we're reaching out to the people you have given to us as your endorsers, because someone has to endorse you for a loan with Keza. And so we're reaching out to your endorser just to know that you're still reachable. And if we're not able to do that, we have device management solutions in place. And so at the end of the day, if we're able to recover the device, we can then sell it and give you back some of the money that you've put towards a down payment.
Okay, well, who is who's taking the most risk here when it comes to these defaults, if it happens?
It depends. It's us, it's the lenders, it's shared risk.
It's a shared risk.
Yes.
Just back to the credits issue. I know back in 2017 when President Buhari went on one of his multiple medical trips, Vice President Osibanjo was running the nation at the time. In 2017, he passed a movable asset registry thing, movable collateral registry thing, which would allow people to have portable assets. Where do you get your data from to assess people that's
credit bureaus.
So there is active. Has there ever been a case where there hasn't been any data on an individual?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, our credit bureaus are not as detailed as they should be in the sense that there's like 10% records for people in the credit bureau.
You see this data problem in Nigeria is just, it spans everywhere. So what do you do when you don't have data on the person?
Sometimes we look out for alternative data. On the other side, alternative data for us means different things. It means your social media profile. Yeah, it means different things for us. And so, on the other hand, when we don't see any data on you, we sometimes take a chance on the person, depending on where they work, on some details they give us, to be honest.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so, look, how long have you been you guys been doing this?
Over a year now.
Okay, great. What has the economy is where it is. Yeah. Poverty is increasing. Yeah. You know, how is your target market? What's your target market? Are you going for middle class, upper middle class? Because there's a certain level of person that can afford a high-end phone that costs as much as land. So I mean, so what are you targeting here?
Okay, so we are targeting people who have a source of income. So middle class, not middle class. Do you have a source of income? And what is your credit profile saying about you? Those are the things that matter to us. Okay. And so because we have devices that go as low as 7,000 Naira monthly payments to as high as 150,000 Naira monthly payments, it's all about who you are and what you can afford.
How do you see, have you, over the past time that you've been in operation, have you noticed that you've been financing more phones, or has the number dropped? How is it, what does the market look like based from your vantage point?
So it looks like people are looking for more pre-owned smartphones, to our surprise. We actually thought that with financing, people can then buy the brand new phones that they want. But even with financing, people are still opting for pre-owned smartphones, especially within the Apple category. So that's one fact that we've seen coming up a lot. Okay, so what does that mean then? That people's incomes are being squeezed and they don't necessarily want to finance more expensive phones? What is that? How do you interpret that? I mean, for people, it just means that can they get the value of a brand new phone in a pre-owned phone? The answer is yes, and it's more affordable for them, so they'll go for the other option.
What about taste? Which brand seems to be the most popular one? You can say it's fine.
Apple. I mean, it's evident.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and what is, as far as forecasting ahead. Okay, by the way, are you growing the number of lenders that you're working with? So yes. No need to mention any banks. Is it mostly tier 1 banks, the biggest ones? Are you also working with tier 2 banks as well? And then what about microfinance banks as well?
Exactly. So we actually work more with microfinance banks than we work with the commercial banks. We've just started working with commercial banks.
Interesting. Yes. Why is that? Is it they're just easier to work with, or there are less restrictions?
They're just easier to work with. I mean, it's just, I would say, easier to get through and start your business. So we started with a microfinance bank that has been heavily supportive, and now we've brought on more microfinance banks, and now commercial banks are paying attention to us.
And you see, this is the insightful discussions we look for on this show. Okay, so what about fintechs? Are you having any discussion with fintechs to find? Because I know some fintechs do lending, and they do go through this. Is there any? What are you looking at? What's your outlook for working with fintechs on this?
For fintechs, I mean, it's the different ways we can go about it, where we can also embed device financing. So when people are saving, I mean, on savings app, for instance, some people are saving towards buying a new smartphone. Right. So if we're embedded within saving apps as well, people can save towards buying a certain phone on Keza Africa. So with the fintechs, we can work with them from a lending perspective or from a customer acquisition perspective. Great stuff.
Is it just mobile phones? Are you looking at other?
We started with mobile phones. We started doing Starlink as well, and now we're going on to
the laptops. Elon Musk. Are you serious? Wow. Yes. Okay.
And then, we're doing laptops from like 2 weeks from now.
So why are you expanding into? We only have a minute to go, but I guess for your operations and so on, it makes sense to expand into other electronic devices. Yes. But mobile phones are still number one.
Yes, mobile phones are number one. I think for us, our goal is to finance items that drive your productivity. Right. So it's your smartphone, it's your laptop, anything that could potentially help you earn an income is something we want to finance. So we're not staying with only smartphones. We're staying with any device that we see that can help you be more productive.
Great stuff. Odunayo Aisha Hussaini, founder, CEO of Keza. Very insightful discussion. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about
much for having
mobile
me.
device financing in Nigeria. Appreciate your time.